10:01, welcome back. Daily show smacking you in the nose on this election morning Tuesday. Mark, welcome back to the show, my man. How are you doing?
I'm doing great, CJ. How are you doing?
Well, man, really appreciate your time and really excited to talk about this. And, when we get a chance to highlight, days that we get to observe, especially Veterans Day, we always love to do it. And especially right now in our region, we have so many great veterans groups that are doing some wonderful things like Riverbend Patriots. So the more we can talk about this and just raise awareness for days of observance like this on November the 9th, that Saturday, is great. And how are you doing today, man? It's raining over in your neck of the woods.
Yeah, we got a little bit of rain, that's for sure.
Is the museum okay? Or memorial okay?
Yep, we get through there just fine. So we're in good shape. But yeah, lots of the lower lying areas will suffering, I think, a little bit of flash flooding this morning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, this is really cool. The 41st annual St. Louis Regional Veterans Day observance is going to take place Saturday, November the 9th in downtown St. Louis. And fill me in on this, man. This is just an incredible event to cover.
Yeah, so this has been happening, I think it's branded as the 41st. I'll give you a little bit of history of that on that, CJ. Veterans Day really starts at the end of World War I, right? So in November of 1918, the war ends. There's huge celebrations in downtown St. Louis, really everywhere, right? Everybody's celebrating the end of that awful war. So that's November 11th, 1918. The next year, 1919, they celebrate what they call the first Armistice Day, which is the recognition of the end of the war. And it continues that way for a number of years. And there's a parade and celebration every year on Armistice Day. And then gradually the holiday kind of morphs into what we know as Veterans Day. And then eventually in the 70s, they come up with an interesting bit of U.S. history, which is called the Monday Laws, when they start to move a lot of holidays to Mondays to give people a 3-day weekend. So they do that with Veterans Day. And that's when the parade is moved to the first Saturday, the Saturday just before Veterans Day. So it's been that way for about 41 years now. But every year, the community comes out, civic organizations, high school JROTC units, all come out to both be in the parade and watch the parade and honor and celebrate our veterans.
100% over. And I mean, just knowing this year, I saw that over 50 groups and over 500 individuals are expected just to participate. But, Mark, seeing the sights and sounds of it in years past, just from social media, and it's incredible to see every generation and every background really coming out and observing this.
Yeah, it is great. And like you said, the participants, cover the whole spectrum, right? So it's the very young high school JROTC kids in their uniforms and marching, and then right alongside the older Legion and VFW veterans, and all kind of coming together for this one moment.
Well, and now take me to the Grand Marshals or the Grand Marshal of this observance parade.
Yeah, you bet. So this is General Helwig is the Deputy Commander of U.S. Transportation Command.
Wow.
And I'll tell you what, CJ, if you ever see on the news where the military is moving, whether it's personnel, equipment, people, U.S. Transportation Command is involved. It all runs through there. And it's a multi. We know of Scott, and we think maybe it's an Air Force base, but Transportation Command is all the branches working together. And so we're really honored to have the Deputy Commander as the Grand Marshal. And then following the parade, we'll have a ceremony where he'll provide the keynote address.
That's incredible. I mean, talk about a job right there where, you will know if you aren't doing it correctly pretty quickly. You have to be pretty much spot on all the time. It's incredible.
Yeah. And I've met with some of these folks, and it's just, they're in a whole nother league.
Oh, I bet.
The level of logistical expertise, experience, and knowledge that they have is just mind-boggling. How they move and interact with so many different organizations. You think about moving stuff by rail, by sea, by land, by air.
In all scenarios.
Yeah. Yep.
It's incredible. And now what I think's a really big component of this, and I think in such a full circle way, is, when you have these junior ROTC cadets and anyone that's, a younger individual that's seeing these veterans, that are in the parades too. I mean, that's inspiring, and it's inspiring for the folks that are watching, but for those, individuals that are in that program, knowing that there's a good chance that, they could be, one of those next veterans in that float that, hopefully comes home and is able to celebrate.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's an interesting part of the Veterans Day Parade is it's a spectacle, right? So we want people to come and watch the parade for sure, but it's also important because there's so many veterans in the parade, right? And it's kind of their golden day to show the community their pride in service, and maybe put on that uniform again and march down the streets of St. Louis and say, hey, I served and I'm proud of that. And then of course we want an audience out there to recognize them, right, and to thank them. One of the I think the best ideas that I've heard is, if you have a veteran, whether it's an uncle or a father or mother, aunt, maybe just a friend, take them out for breakfast and then bring them down to the parade,
right,
and let them know, hey, thank you for serving. Let's go celebrate your service a little bit.
100% over, Mark. And, there's so much to do in this day as well in downtown on Saturday, November the 9th. Now you have the ceremony that does take place at Soldiers Memorial at 11:30 a.m. But take me through some of the sights and sounds of this performances. And I know that there's going to be some more to do with this ceremony and activity portion of it.
Yeah, so there's some fun things for for families. We do a sign making station at Soldiers Memorial so that the kids can come and make signs to hold along the side of the road. That's something we really enjoy. We'll be handing out small U.S. flags for people along the route to help celebrate. The units themselves are a lot of fun. A couple of the units this year, the Off-Road Hers. This is a group of women who own these really cool Jeeps. They're all themed.
There's been
and
a lot
out.
of all-women Jeep clubs lately that are popping up, and they're in droves, Mark. They're in droves.
Yeah, and they're so much fun.
Yeah,
and
they are.
These Jeeps are cool. They're not just nice Jeeps. They're all themed. So there's one that's St. Louis Blues, and she changed the horn, so when she blows the horn, it sounds like they had scored a goal.
Yeah.
That's great. So they're gonna park, right? So they're in the parade, and then they're gonna pull over at Soldiers Memorial at the end of the parade, along with some Model T cars, so that are in the parade. They're gonna pull over and stop as well, so people can also go check out those cars, right? So they don't just pass you in the parade, but you can get up and close and check them out.
Question for you: is the Ghost Army exhibit still up too?
Oh, yeah. Yep, it is.
Perfect tie-in for CJ in a full circle moment. Then when you're done with the ceremonies, go see how cool of an exhibit this is.
Yeah, absolutely, right? So there's your Saturday, November 9th morning. Go take a veteran out to breakfast, come down and see the parade, then check out one of the most fascinating stories of World War II in the Ghost Army.
I'm telling you, the commercial just wrote itself, Mark. I mean, know. Now, who's going to be performing the national anthem?
So this is Kathy Lawton Brown, and Kathy is a radio personality with a classic radio station in St. Louis, but she's also an Air Force veteran and an incredible singer. She also does she actually MCs the parade for us, so she'll do that, and then she'll do the national anthem. And it's great to have a veteran like Kathy, who's got such an incredible singing voice and singing ability to do the anthem for us.
Well, and to have that local St. Louis, personality touch to it when, so many people have come to know her as well. I was just chuckling because I was reading additional information. This shows you how well, everyone goes, you have to be prepared. I read right here, don't forget the new Ghost Army exhibit.
There you go.
But before we let you go, there is going to be a Hall of Fame induction for the 2024 Missouri National Guard. How does this work?
Yeah, thanks, CJ. So that's a new organization, relatively new, 5 to 10 years they've been running, but they recognize service members who have served with distinction in the Missouri National Guard. Last year, they did their induction ceremony during this ceremony, and we're working with them again to do the induction this year as well. So I don't think they've released the names of who they're inducting, but it's a number of individuals who've served with great distinction in the National Guard. One like Harry Truman is one example. Lots of folks who have incredible stories of service. So we'll be doing that as well.
Speaking of another Harry Truman tie-in, I learned yesterday that it was in St. Louis. He held up that famous Dewey Defeats Truman newspaper during the election.
Oh, really? I did not know that.
I learned that yesterday, and I got to give credit where credit's due to old McGraw Millhaven over there. He was talking about it. But yeah, that's another Truman St. Louis tie-in. Now, a couple of more things for you. Wanted to ask you the St. Louis in Service exhibit. I haven't heard about this one yet, so I'm learning for the first time with all of us. Fill us in on this. We have some time.
Yeah, so this is what we call our core or permanent exhibit. It's on the main level, and it covers everything from, it's looking through a very St. Louis specific lens, and it looks at everything from the Revolutionary War up through modern day, and the different conflicts that the nation has been involved with, but really from how are St. Louisans involved, and how are people of this region involved with these different wars, different companies, businesses, so it's that perspective. So it's kind of it's a great exhibit to learn both about the military history, but really about your community's history and about people who have served from this area.
So one final thing before I let you go too on this, Mark, is there is going to be a free hot dog lunch for parade participants, but the big thing is on November the 11th at 10:50. I know that there will be a wreath laying ceremony in St. Louis. Where is that at?
Yeah, so that's right at Soldiers Memorial as well. So that's it's a special thing that's been happening for I think over 50 years, CJ. And this is the Alliance Française, or what I call the French Alliance, because pardon my French, right? I'm no good at it. but they come every year, because of the French connection. They still see this day, and rightfully so, as a remembrance of World War I, right? And the end of that war, that call back to the original Armistice Day and the brutality and the losses of that war. So they come on the 11th day of the 11th hour, the 11th day of the 11th month, when that war ended, to do a wreath laying ceremony at Soldiers Memorial.
Well, we do something. We do wreaths across America at the Alton Cemetery, and I'm sure it's just kind of that same hair-raising moment when you watch it every time and you're a part of it. It's something. It does something to you. I mean, it truly does. If no one has gone, I mean, that's something to go and observe. Yeah,
those moments to pause and reflect, right, and to remember, and they're important.
Yeah. Well, and Mark, man, thank you so much for coming back onto the show. You're always welcome back. Love chatting with you. You guys have to, if you haven't yet, Mark and I literally just like telepathically gave you the commercial of a lifetime. Bring the veteran in your life, or if you have a group of veterans that maybe you do something on Veterans Day or something for that occasion, this is something to go and be a part of the 41st Annual St. Louis Regional Veterans Day observance. While you're there, go in, see the Ghost Army exhibit, see the St. Louis in Service exhibit, and see a great ceremony along with the car show. Mark, thank you so much for your time. We'll talk again soon, man.
Hey, thanks so much, CJ. You take care.
No problem. You too. At 10:14, a little bit of change, more Daily Show on this Tuesday right after this.